gentlemen, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce to you our Governor, Nikki Haley.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to let you know how excited I am to be back in Aiken, because this was probably the area that took to us first when we were still Nikki Who, and this is also the area that just became friends of our family. And Michael and I knew whenever we visited Aiken, we were home, this was safe. This was the area where we just had a lot of good conservatives that were helping us fight the fight. And so it is great to be back in Aiken. It looks great, and if you love the weather today, I did that. So you learn real quick in this position, you take whatever credit you can get because you're not going to get it anywhere else. The kids are doing great. Michael is doing great. He puts on his military uniform every day, been traveling quite a bit. We've got a lot of mobilizations going on, and so from our military standpoint, we continue to watch them and support them, and I will tell you that the hardest part of my job continues to be the day I get the call that we've lost someone and having to call their family. So please take time, whenever you hear that happen, wherever it is in the state, take time to acknowledge it, because it's really important. What I love about our state is we have a very patriotic state. What most people don't realize is we had 103% participation. We have more people wanting to join the service than we have space for. That's a great thing for South Carolina. I'm incredibly proud of that, and people don't talk about that enough. So when you see any of our military men and women, just thank them, because they make South Carolina proud every day. The second thing I'll tell you is the kids are great. They start school tomorrow. I took Nayland to meet his teachers this morning, and he slept the whole way to school. So they're struggling on getting back used to things. I have told people this story many times. We got into the mansion, and they got pretty used to everything once they found the ice cream closet. But they quickly got used to the mansion, and we said, "You got to play upstairs. You're not allowed to play downstairs." And I was hosting a group of senators over at the House to talk about some policy issues that we had, and one of our senior senators looked over, and there was a red pigtail wig on one of our busts. And then I looked at all of them across the House, and they had blue wigs and red wigs and pink wigs. And so he said, "My goodness, what is that?" And it turned out that the kids were playing a joke on the staff, and the staff didn't realize it, but the senators did. But all is well at the mansion, and they're having a great time. I want to talk to you a little bit about what we've done since we took office and where we're going, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A, which I always love to hear what you care about. My number one priority continues to be to create jobs in South Carolina, to make sure we have a strong market environment where companies want to come. And the great news is they do want to come. They are calling us because we have a strong business environment. We are a right-to-work state, and we give them a great trained workforce. And so what we've got to do is continue to do that. I am on the phone every day with companies asking them to come. And their number one focus is, are we going to continue to be a right-to-work state, which we are. I've got the lawsuit to prove that one. And then also, are we going to make sure we have our infrastructure in place? And we are doing very well with that in terms of the ports are moving along nicely, and we are starting to look at dual rail. All of the things that companies care about are very, very important. We have announced over 9,700 jobs since January, which is great for South Carolina, and the companies that are looking at us are manufacturing, aerospace, and automotive. It's all the types of jobs we'd want to have in South Carolina. So we will continue to do that as we go forward. We've still got a high unemployment rate. It's no longer at 12, but it's still at double digits. And in my first few months, it started to dip a little bit, and now we're starting to see it pick back up. And anytime you've got college graduates coming out of school and not finding jobs, we're kind of going into that. But our goal is to make sure that we get as many people back to work as we can. The legislative session was an interesting one. You had a legislature that was used to Governor Sanford and didn't know what to expect when Sanford in a dress, which was me, showed up at the State House. And then you also had a governor who had come off of somewhat of a bitter fight with the legislature on an on-the-record voting issue and some other issues that they didn't agree with me on. So we had to find some good common ground. What I promised you early on was that I was going to try and be predictable to the legislature. Let them know what we were going to do before we did it, trying to educate them on where we were coming from as we were going forward. I will tell you that the legislature was very, very good to us this year. They really showed efforts to cooperate. They really showed efforts to try and do things. And some of the things we did was we were the last state in the country that didn't negotiate our Medicaid rates. The last state. So what would happen is hospitals, nursing homes would hold out their hand every year. The money would automatically go to them, but there wouldn't be any negotiation of rates. And so the cost of health care continued to go up. Now what we've done is through the legislature, we did pass Medicaid reform. They now can negotiate rates, and for the first time, our Health and Human Services Director is having different groups come to him and say, well, we can save here if we do this, or we can save there if we can do that. So it's exactly what we wanted to see happen. It was the first step, and we're going to continue to see that go forward. We did finally, after 3 years, get voting on the record to become permanent law. So now our legislators have to show every single vote on the record. But not only that, they have to show their votes on every section of the budget. We can now see the spending habits of our legislature like we never had before. So that was a great thing for South Carolina. It's a good thing for me to be able to see what they're voting on and what they're not, and you should take advantage of that too. Our hope is to make that friendlier so that you can see that easier, but that is also why you're going to see me come out with a report card by the fall that will lay all that out for you so you can see exactly how your legislators voted, because we do have the votes to show for that.